What's up, everybody? Hey, Brian Tong here, and I wanted to give you really a first look, hands-on with the new iPad Pros featuring the new M4 chip. Yeah, they jumped from M2 and then went all the way to M4. We're gonna talk about it, and I have them right in front of me. Let's just get right to the design here. This is the 13-inch model. This is the 11-inch model. And if the screens look like they're popping and just like super bright, I can tell you from here, these screens pop because they're using a new, what they call tandem OLED display. This is where Apple has stacked two OLED layers on top of each other. So what you get, even bigger and better brightness than ever before. You get that pixel by pixel control, deep inky blacks. Now this display also is 264 pixel per inch density. So that's 2420 by 1668 on the 11-inch and then 2752 by 2064 pixel resolution on the 13-inch. They both have ProMotion, so that's the variable refresh rate from 10 hertz all the way up to 120 hertz. They support the P3 wide color gamut and True Tone, and then they have the fingerprint resistant oleophobic coating. The big thing here though, there is a nano texture display glass option on the 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte models. If you're talking about brightness, well, you want to get all the way up to 1000 nits max full screen for XDR brightness, and then up to 1600 nits peak brightness for HDR content. So those specular details, those real highlights, that contrast, they're gonna pop on the screen. You get a 2,000,000:1 contrast ratio, and then of course, this supports the new Apple Pencil Pro, support for the earlier Apple Pencil dedicated USB-C version that came out towards the end of last year, and then the Apple Pencil Hover feature. These displays, just right when you see them, they pop. But then the other thing is, I think I felt this before I even saw the display, how thin this is. So we talk about the 11-inch, 5.3 millimeters thin, the 13-inch, 5.1 millimeters thin. And when you take a look at this, I have some other videos, it's basically just like barely thicker than the USB-C Thunderbolt 4 port on here. The weight of this is incredibly light. I mean, I've just had a little time to spend with these, but first impressions, if you're someone who's owned an iPad of any model, I've been here from the beginning, the very first iPad Pro. This thing is, Apple isn't kidding when they said this is like the iPad that they dreamed about. It is so thin. This is completely like an aluminum body, 100% recycled aluminum. Another cool thing design-wise is this Apple logo here. This is actually made of copper, and the reason why is that allows it to dissipate heat better. So it has like a 20% better thermal performance because of this. But this iPad Pro with the M4, you're getting incredible performance. Remember, they skipped the M3 here. They jumped from M2 to M4, and Apple says you're getting up to 50% faster CPU performance from the M2 now with the M4. So that's a significant jump purely in performance. Now, if you want to talk about a few different configurations of how the M4 is set up, if you have a 256 gig or 512 gig storage model of the iPad Pro, you're gonna get a 9-core CPU, that's 3 performance cores and 6 efficiency cores, a 10-core GPU, and then a 16-core neural engine with support for 8 gigs of unified memory. Now, if you're getting a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte storage iPad Pro, you're getting a 10-core CPU with 4 performance cores and 6 efficiency cores, a 10-core GPU, and then also a 16-core neural engine with 16 gigs of unified memory. And then you're gonna get the media engine that just tears through video, right? ProRes, 4K, 8K, H.264, ProRes RAW. I mean, this is a multimedia beast. And we saw a whole bunch of different demos. It's hard for me to explain and capture all this, but one of the great ones, right? Final Cut Pro 2 is now coming to the iPad Pros and also previous iPads later this spring, but you're getting new features where you can do a multi-camera edit. You can sync up to 4 cameras total for 4 different shots, and then later in post, after you record them all together, just tap on the screen to switch whichever camera you want. Just incredible for interviews and podcasts. They also showed us in Final Cut Pro how you can completely take someone against a background, put text between them, and remove them. You're essentially rotoscoping, and this happens in seconds, not in minutes, and not any manual handwork. It does it in seconds. So this is really flexing the muscle of the M4 chip. There's 2 new 3D apps coming to the iPad platform for the very first time, Uniform and ZBrush. Many of you have heard of ZBrush, and so I got a demo of how ZBrush works on the M4, manipulating the samurai mask where you can pull the facial dimensions, play around with the teeth, and these are all 3 objects that are doing this all real time. So it's up to 4 times faster for rendering 3D compared to the previous iPad Pro. Now, I'm not a music guy, but they also showed demos of Logic for us. And this is just, this is not using AI to help create music, but it's more using AI to augment and maybe change or give you different options. But Logic 2 blew my mind with these different sessions, drummers, bass guitar, keyboard, and how you can create new sounds and new variety on the fly in seconds thanks to the neural engine that's in this M4. Audio people are going to freak out about this. This is a powerful, powerful tool. I'm not going to forget the cameras. On the rear side, you get a 12 megapixel wide camera with a f1.8 aperture capable of shooting 4K ProRes video. On the front side, you're going to get the true depth camera. That is also a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, f2.4 aperture, but the big thing, the landscape placement, it is dead center. So now you don't have to look like you're looking off to the side or anything like that. This is when you use your iPad in landscape mode, your calls will be perfectly centered, and it's a great spot. It's something we've been requesting, and they delivered. But it's also beyond that. There's an ecosystem of things going on here. You have the new iPad Pro, but you also got a new Apple Pencil Pro. Now, the Apple Pencil Pro, when I feel it and hold it, I mean, pretty much feels like an Apple Pencil before, but there's a few new functions in here. There's a new sensor in here. There's a new haptic engine inside of here. And this allows you to me to like actually squeeze the pen while I'm using it. It pulls up a contextual menu of your tools. I have some other video clips of me actually scrolling through those tools. I think the most intriguing thing about this Apple Pencil is what they call barrel roll. So what it allows you to do is while this pencil is in my hand, I'm just subtly twisting it, and allows the brush that you're using to either change its orientation from horizontal or vertical. But this is a huge thing. If you're talking about calligraphy artists, they'd use this roll technique as they're drawing, as they're writing. You also then, if you, let's say you have a few edits that you put on a document, you can actually then, again, squeeze, pull up the contextual menu again, and you can undo the different steps that you did. You feel, as you scroll up and down, you're actually gonna feel a haptic feedback for each undo that you do, because again, there's a haptic engine in this pencil. Just the fact that you have all new hardware in this pencil, Apple Pencil Pro, let's call it, right, and the iPad Pro, this again elevates the experience from a technical standpoint, from an artistic standpoint. I'm not even a digital artist, and this tool just got a whole lot better. Now you also have another thing that I use a lot here. We have an all new Magic Keyboard. Now this is, I'm opening up these both because there's one for the 11-inch and then there's one for the 13-inch. Now here you have an all like aluminum surface body, so they're really capturing that feeling of the MacBook Pro, really classy. You have a larger trackpad that has haptic feedback in it, right? So you feel those pulses much like, you know, what you've taken from the MacBook Pro. And then my number one request from the Magic Keyboard before, a function row, you have all the function keys here, so you can do everything from media controls to brightness. And then when you pop it on here, let's make sure, you know, I do this right. I'm gonna pop it in here, and even from the weight, because the iPad is thinner, because the actual Magic Keyboard is feels thinner to me, the weight itself, overall this package is again lighter than my previous iPad Pro with a Magic Keyboard. So for someone like me who's on the go and is doing a lot of portable work or media viewing when I'm traveling, this combination, this is killer. Now, if you're looking at just price-wise, configuration-wise, the 11-inch Magic Keyboard, this is gonna be $249. The larger one for the 13-inch, that's gonna be $349. The Apple Pencil, this is gonna be $129. Now, if we're talking about the pricing here, the 11-inch iPad Pro, this starts at $999. That is with 256 gigs of storage to start. If you look at something like the 13-inch model, that also starts at 256 gigs. The price point on there is $1299. Obviously, you have a Wi-Fi model, you have a Wi-Fi cellular model as well, but this is just a first look, hands-on, just give you some impressions of the new iPad Pro family with all their accessories. And look, I didn't upgrade from an M1 to an M2. I am definitely 100% upgrading to these new iPad Pros, not these 13-inch. This is my baby. Can I rock it? Yeah, I'm gonna rock it. I might kiss it too. Don't look.